Hi CD Bestie, welcome back to CreativeDisc exclusive interview with me Dunde Yona. And today it's a honor for me to meet this talented musician from Ireland, and he's now preparing his first ever show in Jakarta in Widowfest 2023. Here with me now, Dermot Kennedy. Hi, man. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Thank you.
I'm totally great, and I'm so stoked right now because I'm wondering if I can meet you in person one day or something like that. Finally, I can meet you. So, how's Indonesia?
Great,
Treating you so far?
I'm very happy to be here. I can't wait to play the festival there. It's going to be good.
You're arriving today also, right?
Yeah, just this afternoon.
Okay, so have you tried any like Indonesian delicacies before?
Only in catering. You got to check and tell me. Yeah. So I'm not sure.
So how's the catering?
No, it's very good. Yeah, it was really good.
So,
it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the first impression when you come to Indonesia after went to our airports and then feeling our traffic?
Sure. First impression, honestly, is obviously the weather. It's just like super heavy because in Ireland it's just like it's never ever like this. So it's beautiful. And to be honest, like if you play a show outside in Ireland, you never know what the weather's going to be like. So to be here and get to play and for it to be warm is a very nice feeling. Yeah, so it's lovely.
Okay, cool. So I have to be honest before we talk about your music. I have to be honest. I knew your music like way before I knew your name because I totally like listening to random playlists on Spotify, and then I noticed that I love this song. I love this one character of the musician that I like, and I love the music on the Spotify. And then after a while, I just like noticed, oh, this is Dermot Kennedy, and then you release an album, right?
Okay,
So what do you think about that phenomenon? Because I know that a lot of people like find you through that kind of...
Totally, I do that too. You know, if I listen to music, I think sometimes there's some songs that I love, but like I'm doing like going for a walk or so I never even find out exactly which one it was. But yeah, it's great. I'm just, to be honest, it's in a way, it's kind of a nice thing because I want people to know the music more than they know me. You know what I mean? So it's kind of I'm okay with that.
But because the thing that I love about your music is like you present so much emotional in the songs that you wrote, the songs that you present to a lot of listeners. How can you come up with the songs though in the first place?
Yeah, I did. I mean, like all of it's just from my own life, you know? And so they're just stories that I tell. I think sometimes people ask me if I get nervous about like saying certain things or sharing certain feelings, and I really don't. I think for me, like, say we kind of started this tour in February, so I've sung these songs so many times, you know, so what I mean by that is I need to be able to believe it every single time, you know, so when I write it, it needs to feel like a very strong idea, you know, because I can't, 2 years later, I can't be like, oh, I don't really believe this anymore. I can't feel like that, you know. It needs to be something I feel strongly about every time.
So what I can capture for that, you wrote your own music through your life cycles and your life experience, right? So in order to like believe whenever you sang throughout all of the people, the audience, right? So instead of like writing like imaginative thing, what is the difference between like writing a music for yourself perhaps or like writing for another people? Do you have been in that experience
for other artists? I haven't yet, but I've definitely had songs where I think about that.
Medusa also, right?
Which
song that you wrote also?
Yeah, I wrote some of it, and I think, it's right. Like, and also like I know, say for me, if I write a song that's for Dermot Kennedy and that's it, I obviously write it in that way. But if I have like a collaboration, I guess it's a different thing, especially with them because say for example, I know that song is going to be really important in like nightclubs and EDM festivals and stuff. So like, it's just, it's so important that the music kind of flows correctly. Whereas when I do what I do, it's kind of about the story, you know, and I needed to feel a certain way before I think about like, that's how I write it. It's all about the words and the way they make me feel. But with that, it's almost about how it makes you feel in the music, you know, it's a bit different.
So tell us more about your album, your first album, right? Sonder, if I'm not...
Sonder is the second one.
The second, Oh, the second one.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us more about this album because there are a lot of what is it, like more ballads, if I must say, and more like intimate kind of theme.
Right.
So what is this album reflects?
Well, when you were talking before, you said like music for me and music for other people, and sometimes when I think about that, it's like years ago, if I made a song, I used to just only write it for myself. I used to only be thinking about how it makes me feel, all that kind of stuff. Whereas now, I'm lucky enough to kind of play to big crowds all over the world. And so I think more, like if I look into the crowd and see somebody feeling a certain way, or I can read their emotion, I care a lot about that, you know? And so sometimes now, more often in the studio, I'll think about how a song is going to make somebody feel. So I think I had the audience in mind more with the second album, truthfully. And which is a good and a bad thing. Sometimes it's nice to just, I heard a quote recently that said the best way to serve your audience is to ignore them. And not in a bad way. It's just if you make that song just for yourself, chances are whoever likes your music is going to love it, you know?
That is true.
Because you get to the right feelings and stuff. But I would say, I had just human emotion in mind with the second one, whereas the first one was really my own emotion.
I see. So let's move on to like this phenomenon that we know that in a couple of years back, TikTok become one of the platforms that like decided that what is the trend of the music that's happening. What do you think about that?
It's all good. I mean, I'm happy for people who kind of build a career off that. I think you got to be careful with that stuff, because if you want to be around in 10 years, 20 years, and somebody found your music when they were 18 and they still rock with it when they're 38, I think that's difficult to do. And so I think
consistent, like,
totally, and so amazing. If something happens on social media and it takes your career that's already going to a whole new place, it's beautiful. But also, if you sort of rely on that completely, it's just like it's risky. It's like anything. If you had money and you put it all on one thing, it's a scary thing to do. You know what I mean? So
that is true. So my last question, our time is limited. Is there like any message to your Indonesian fan who like relate to your music? Can you say it to the camera?
Totally. I think what we've talked about are those emotions in music, and I think everybody has them. It doesn't matter where you're from. We all feel the same things, and so I appreciate anybody listening to my music.
Dermot Kennedy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure of mine to talk to you.
Same.
And CD Bestie, stay tuned for more interview at VTheFest 2023 with more artists. Stay tuned.